Pardon? Electrochemistry. Right, say this topic is weightage of two questions in need, but including electrochemistry redox reaction, you may get 3 and 4 also. So purely from this topic you can expect 2 questions. Okay. Next is, see this topic you can divide into 3 parts. Like 3 parts of electrochemistry. In first part we are going to study till electronic conductors like resistance, resistivity, okay, conductivity, molar conductivity, equivalent conductivity, including Cole-Ross law and its application till one part. In second part we are going to study what is reduction potential, SRP, and Daniell cell, right, and SHE, standard hydrogen electrode and its application, etc. in second part. And third part we are going to study batteries and cells. Even in recent year 2 questions asked in batteries and cells, okay, equations. Okay. So we'll study one by one all. And this topic this topic is very, very important because the one more reason is, here you may expect numerical questions, but numerical questions even related with concept oriented questions like theory questions. So it is not that only numerical question may ask, numerical question will be there, even theory based question also be there, like which of the following is true or which of the following false, this kind of question also be given. Okay, so right, so let's start electrochemistry. Tell me, electrochemistry, it is a branch of chemistry which deals with the conversion of electrical energy into chemical energy and chemical energy into electrical energy. Therefore, in this topic we are going to study how to convert chemical energy to electrical energy and electrical energy into chemical energy also. Therefore, in this topic we mainly study this chemical energy into electrical energy and how electrical energy converts into chemical energy. And in first of the part of the electrochemistry, we are going to study how to convert electrical energy into chemical energy. In second part we are going to study how to convert chemical energy into electrical. And third part is batteries and cells. That's it. Okay. But to understand how to convert electrical to chemical, chemical to electrical, we need to understand some important basics. Okay. Let's start with basics. Now here, this topic starts with conductor. What is conductor? And next is what is, still listen first, I'll give the notes. What is insulator? And next is types of conductor. Okay. So what is conductor, insulator, types of conductors? Can you tell me what is conductor? So conductor is the substance which allow the passage of electric current. Yes or no? There are many substances. The substance which allow the passage of electric current through them called conductor. And what are insulator? The substance which do not allow the passage of electric current through them called insulator. So can you tell me example for conductor? The substance which allow the passage of electric current. Example? So all the metals, because all metals are good conductors. Next, even you can take salt solutions, salt solution like NaCl solution, KCl, MgCl2 solutions, comma. Can we take salts in molten state or fused state? Can also be taken, comma. You can also take acids, right? All the acids. You can also take bases, right? All the bases. So etc. Example. Even you can take graphite also. Yes or no? Graphite is a non-metal. Even it is a conductor because of electrons we have studied. So therefore, all the metals are good conductors. and salt solutions. So salt solution in the sense solution must be in aqueous medium, right? So here now here onwards wherever solution comes you need to take it as a aqueous solution. So therefore all the solutions in aqueous medium, salt in molten state and acid, bases, graphite etc. are good conductors of electric current. Then what about insulator? The substance which do not allow the passage of electric current through them, they are insulator. So what are the insulators? Example for insulator, you can take wood, wool, rubber, rubber, plastic, etc. or insulator. They do not conduct electric current. Next is types of conductor. So conductor are further classified into two types. One are A, electronic conductor. Yes or no? Electronic conductor. They are also called metallic conductor. And B, electrolytic conductor. Electrolytic conductor also called electrolytes. Okay, therefore conductors are further classified into two types. What are those? Electronic conductor and electrolytic conductor. Tell me, electronic conductor, the name itself giving meaning, electronic. The substance which can conduct the electric current by the movement of free electrons. Yes or no? All the electronic conductors can conduct the electric current by the movement of free electron. So therefore, the substance which conduct the electric current by the movement of free electron is a electronic conductor. And by the movement of free electron with chemical change or without chemical change. For example, when current is passed through the copper wire, is it the weight of the copper wire is reduces, increases? Is it copper become any silver? Not copper become iron and not iron become copper. There is no any chemical reaction. That means without chemical change. So therefore, then what is the definition of electronic conductor? The substance which conduct the electric current by the movement of free electron without chemical change is a electronic. Then what about electrolytic conductor? The substance which conduct the electric current by the movement of ions. Of course, free ions. What are the free ions? Cations and anions with chemical change. Here chemical change takes place because when current is passed through the solution, so cation moves towards cathode, anion moves towards anode. So cation get deposited on cathode, anode, anion deposited anode. Okay, that means weight changes, chemical reaction takes place. Therefore, here with the chemical change called electrolytic conductor, they are also called electrolytes. Then what are the examples for electronic conductor? So they conduct the electric current by the movement of free electron. So therefore you can take all metals are electronic conductors. Even all metals are electronic conductor, one non-metal also metallic conductor, which is graphite. So graphite is a non-metal even though it conducts electric current by the movement of electrons. Right? Therefore, all metals and graphite is a electronic conductor. Next is electrolytic conductor. Tell me, they conduct electric current by the movement of ions. So you can take here salt solution like NaCl, KCl, MgCl2, whatever the salt you take in aqueous medium, they conduct electric current. Therefore, all the salt solutions, even you can take salts in molten state. What is the meaning of salts in molten state, fused state? For example, sodium chloride. Now tell me, sodium chloride, it become molten. When it is molten, when sodium chloride is heated above its melting point, what happens? Sodium chloride solid become liquid. That liquid sodium chloride without adding water, that is called molten or fused. Nothing but melted. Melted NaCl, it's called molten. Therefore, molten, all the salts. Therefore, salts in molten state, or fused state, or good example for electrolytes. Next is even acids, bases. So acids and bases can conduct electric current by the movement of ions, or you know, all the acids and all the bases, not graphite. For example for electrolytic conductor. Then let's see differences between electronic and electrolytic conductor. Electronic conductor, electrolytic conductor. Tell me. So what are the differences between electronic and electrolytic conductor? One, they conduct the electric current by the movement of free electrons. Here, they conduct the electric current by the movement of free ions. Okay. Next, here, usually these electronic conductors are in solid state, metal, graphite. Okay, there are some exceptions, but usually these are in solid state. They conduct in solid state. Here, they conduct in usually liquid state. So liquid means it may be solution, it may be molten. Both are liquid only. Next, is there chemical change takes place here in case of electronic conductor? Here, no chemical change takes place. Now here, is it chemical change takes place? So here, chemical change or chemical reaction takes place. Okay, next, is it mass transfer takes place in case of electronic conductor? When current is passed through the copper wire, is it mass of the copper reduces or increases? Happens? No. That means mass transfer do not take place. In case of here, mass transfer takes place. Mass transfer do not takes place. Here is mass transfer takes place. Next, then what is the effect of temperature on this electronic conductor? When temperature increases, what happen? What happen? Conductivity of electronic conductor. Electronic conductor. So here the conductivity is inversely proportional to temperature. Yes or no? Because when temperature increases, the resistance of the metal is increases, right? In physics we might have studied. The resistance of the metal increases. It means conductance is decreases. Therefore, here conductance is directly proportional to or inversely proportional to temperature. Right? Then here, what about conductance? Directly proportional to temperature. In case of electrolytes, so here as the temperature increases, conductance is or conductivity is increases. We will study in detail about this later. Okay? And in our syllabus, we will study about only electrolytes. We don't study. So here only it is. We will finish here only. Okay? We don't go further about this in detail study. Okay? Right till here. Right. Electrochemistry. It is a branch of physical chemistry, deals with conversion of. It is a branch of physical chemistry, deals with conversion of. Take this. Chemical energy into electrical energy, vice versa. Next, conductor. Conductor. The substance which allow the passage of electric current. The substance which allow the passage of electric current through them. The substance which allow the passage of electric current through them called conductor. Take example. Insulator, the substance which do not allow the passage of electric current through them. The substance which do not allow the passage of electric current through them, called insulators. Take the example. Types of conductor. Types of conductor. A. Electronic conductor or a metallic conductor. So next is ionization, degree of ionization. So this degree of ionization denoted by alpha. See here, this alpha we study even we use electrochemistry, chemical kinetics, even we studied solution topic, right? Alpha, beta, no, solution topic, and we are going to study even chemical equilibrium. So therefore, alpha has very much important in chemistry. Listen carefully. So what is ionization or dissociation, and degree of ionization or degree of dissociation? Tell me. Let's see first what is ionization. Ionization or dissociation. See, when an electrolyte is added to water, let us take NaCl. NaCl is electrolyte. When it is added to water, what happened? It dissociated or it splits into Na plus Cl minus. Now this phenomena is called nothing but ionization. That means when an electrolyte is added to water, it splits into cation and anion. So this phenomenon is called ionization or dissociation. Okay. Then what is the degree of dissociation or degree of ionization? Alpha. So degree of ionization alpha is, it is the ratio of number of moles of electrolyte dissociated, number of moles of electrolyte dissociated divided by total number of moles of electrolyte taken. Total number of moles of electrolyte taken. So therefore, tell me now, what is alpha? Alpha is nothing but ratio. It is the ratio of number of moles of electrolyte dissociated to the total number of moles of electrolyte is taken. Is called degree of dissociation or degree of ionization. If it is in percentage you want, you can multiply with 100. You will get alpha in 100. Then what is the importance of this alpha? See, this alpha has very much important to identify the whether strong electrolyte or weak electrolyte. For example, now let us take for strong electrolyte. Okay, for the strong electrolyte, can you tell me example? Take NaCl. Okay, If you take 100 moles of NaCl, since it is a strong electrolyte, out of 100 molecule, all 100 molecule undergo ionization. It form 100 Na plus ion plus 100 Cl minus ion. It means here we have taken 100 molecules of NaCl. Out of 100, all the 100 undergo ionization. It gives 100 cation, 100 anion. Then we want alpha. Tell me, what is alpha equal to? Alpha is the number of moles of electrolyte dissociated. Tell me, how many moles dissociated? How many mole? No, we got 100 plus 100, 200 ions. I am not asking how many ions. How many moles dissociated? 100, no? We have taken 100 moles. All the 100 is dissociated. 100 moles dissociated. Taken how many? 100. It means 100 by 100 is nothing but 1. It is alpha is always 1 for strong electrolyte. Why is alpha is 1 for strong electrolyte? Because strong electrolyte undergo complete ionization. Since they undergo complete ionization, if you take 100, all 100 undergo ionization, 100 by 100, 1. Or if you take 20, all 20 undergo ionization, 20 by 20, 1. That means since strong electrolyte undergo complete ionization, alpha is always 1 for strong electrolyte. Then what about for weak electrolyte? Tell me, for weak electrolyte, let us take acetic acid, weak acid, organic acid. No, acetic acid undergo ionization, whether partial or complete? Partial. For the partial ionization, we write forward and backward. Okay. Then it undergo partial ionization. It gives rise to acetate ion plus H plus ion. Suppose if I take 100 number of acetate molecules, acetic acid molecule, out of 100, hardly 2 or 3. Either 2 or 3 molecule undergo dissociation. Suppose if 2 molecule undergo dissociation, what do you get? 2 acetate ion and 2 H plus ion. But taken how many? 100. Then therefore, alpha equal to the number of moles of electrolyte dissociated. How many? Only 2 moles dissociated. But taken how many? 100. So therefore, 2 by 100 it is 0.02. Means alpha is very, very less. So alpha always less than 1. That is a weak electrolyte. Therefore, based on alpha value, it is possible to identify the whether given electrolyte, strong electrolyte or weak electrolyte. Right. Then, if alpha is 1, it is always strong electrolyte. If alpha less than 1, it is weak. Then, is it alpha greater than 1 possible? Which of the following is not possible? Alpha is equal to 1, alpha is 1.5, alpha is 0.5. Options may be there. Alpha is 1.5, not possible. Alpha more than 1 is not possible because what alpha says, it is number of moles of electrolyte dissociated. How many dissociated? How many taken? If it is alpha more than 1, the number of dissociated is more than taken. How is it possible? You have taken 100. How do you expect 200 dissociate? Right? So therefore, the dissociated is not more than taken. So that means it may be equal. So therefore, alpha is the maximum value. Alpha is always 1, or it should be less than 1. Next. Then one more important is, based on the alpha value, it is possible to identify the which of the following electrolyte is strong and which of the following is weak. For example, question is like this: which of the following is the strongest electrolyte? Alpha is 0.1, B alpha is 0.2, and C alpha is 0.3, D alpha is 0.4. Which of the following is a strong electrolyte? 0.4. So therefore, higher the alpha value, that is a stronger will be the electrolyte. So therefore, alpha value also identify the which is given electrolyte is strong electrolyte. Okay. Next, which of the following is a weak electrolyte? 0.1. Next, there are 3 acids A, B, C. There are 3 acids. Their alpha values are given that 1 is a 0.7, 2 is a 0.8, 3 is a 0.3. Which of the following is a strongest acid? B. Therefore, higher the alpha value, strong will be the acid. So these kind of questions can be expected. Okay. So this is what alpha and the degree of ionization. So next is based on degree of ionization, and electrolytes are classified into two types. One is a strong electrolyte, second one is weak electrolytes. Right? Ionization, degree of ionization. When an electrolyte is added to water, it splits into ions. When an electrolyte is added to water, it splits into ions, cation, anion. It splits into ion. This phenomenon is called ionization or dissociation. Next example, take this example. NaCl gives rise to Na plus Cl minus. Next, degree of dissociation. Madam, the ratio of number of moles of electrolyte dissociated to the total number of moles of electrolyte taken. The ratio of number of moles of electrolyte dissociated to the total number of moles of electrolyte taken, called degree of dissociation or ionization. So take the formula, take these two examples. Which of the following is a strong electrolyte? ABCD. Which of the following is a strong acid? types of electrolytes. Types of electrolytes. So based on ionization, electrolytes are classified into two types. One, strong electrolyte, and B is weak electrolyte. Come on, tell me, what are the strong and what are the weak electrolyte? So strong electrolyte is the electrolyte which undergo complete ionization in aqueous solution, in aqueous medium, even at moderate concentration, is a strong electrolyte. It means all strong electrolyte undergo complete ionization in aqueous medium, in aqueous solution. So they undergo complete ionization in aqueous solution even at moderate concentration. Then they are strong electrolyte. Then what about weak electrolyte? So the electrolyte which undergo partial ionization. So here these electrolyte undergo complete ionization. They undergo complete ionization in aqueous solution. Here they undergo partial ionization in aqueous solution at moderate concentration. Next is, then what about alpha of this strong electrolyte? The degree of dissociation is always 1. Now in case of weak electrolyte, alpha is always less than 1. But one important point is, what happened degree of dissociation on dilution in case of strong and weak electrolyte? See, alpha is 1, no? In case of strong electrolyte, alpha is 1. On dilution, is it 1 become 1.5? On dilution, what is the meaning of dilution? Adding water. Adding the water to any concentrate solution is called dilution. On dilution, is it alpha value still increases? No, because alpha is maximum 1. That means alpha do not increases considerably with dilution in case of strong electrolyte. Whereas in case of weak electrolyte, alpha is less than 1. When water is added to the strong electrolyte, weak electrolyte, so alpha value is increases. If it is alpha is 1.5, it may be 0.6, 0.7, 0.8. So therefore, alpha value is increases with dilution, that is weak electrolyte. Alpha do not increases with dilution, that is a strong electrolyte. Okay. Then example. So what are the example for strong electrolyte? You can take all salt solutions. Say irrespective nature, whether weak acid salt, weak base salt, strong acid salt, strong base salt, irrespective nature of the salt, all the salt solutions are strong electrolyte. They undergo complete ionization. Next is even salts in molten state, strong acids, strong bases. Can you tell me what are the strong acids, strong bases? Okay. Come on, tell me. Strong acids. What are the strong acid example? All mineral acids. Mineral acids like HCl, strong acid, H2SO4, HNO3, phosphoric acid, H3PO4, etc. HCl4, etc. are strong acids. Then what are the strong bases? So strong bases. So usually alkali metals and alkaline earth metals are strong bases. Alkali metal bases: sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, barium hydroxide, many more strong bases. Therefore, all strong acids, all strong bases are strong electrolytes. Even all salt solutions is irrespective nature. Okay. So all these are examples for strong electrolyte. Then what about weak electrolyte? So weak electrolyte undergo partial ionization. Okay. Then their alpha is less than 1. Then what happened? Alpha value. So alpha value is increases with dilution. That means when water is added, alpha value considerably increases. Next example. All salts are strong electrolyte. So therefore you cannot take salts are here weak electrolyte. Then even in molten state also strong electrolyte. Then what may be the weak electrolyte? Here is strong acid. Here is you can take weak acids. So weak acids. What are the weak acids? Usually organic acids. Organic acids are weak acid, like formic acid, acetic acid, propanoic acid, butanoic acid, benzoic acid, many more. These are known. Benzoic acid, even H2CO3, carbonic acid, we have studied solution topic. It is also weak acid. Even HCN, hydrogen cyanide, also weak acid. Next, why they are called weak acid? Their pK value we have studied? No, pKb. No, okay. We'll study separately. Then next is weak bases. Okay, weak bases. What are the weak bases? Usually organic bases. Ammonium hydroxide, even aluminum hydroxide, methyl ammonium hydroxide, etc. But weak electrolytes. Then, types of electrolytes. Types of weak electrolyte. The differences between strong and weak electrolytes. Tell me, what are the differences? One, they undergo complete ionization. They undergo complete ionization at moderate concentration. Here, they undergo partial ionization at moderate concentration. Yes, ma'am. Then what about alpha? So what is the alpha of strong electrolyte? So alpha always equal to 1. That is strong electrolyte, or near to 1. Then what about alpha is less than 1? Next, what happened degree of dissociation with dilution? Alpha value do not increases with dilution, whereas alpha value is increases with dilution. Alpha do not increases with dilution. Here, alpha value increases with dilution. Okay, there is one more important difference is, in case of strong electrolyte, lambda m and lambda eq. What is lambda m? It is called molar conductivity. We'll study next class. Okay. So molar conductivity, equivalent conductivity. The molar conductivity and equivalent conductivity of strong electrolyte is high. They have high molar conductivity and high equivalent conductivity. And these two, lambda m, lambda eq, Actually, they are high, and their value increases slowly. Lambda m, lambda EQ value increases slowly with the dilution. On dilution, these two value increases but slowly. But here, what about lambda m, lambda EQ? Lambda m, lambda EQ of strong electrolyte, weak electrolyte is, it is a very less. It is a very less, and dilution, on dilution, lambda m, lambda EQ increases sharply. So here, lambda m, lambda EQ increases, both are increases, it is increases slowly. But it is, here it is increases sharply. So why sharply, why slowly? We will study this class on dilution topic. Now, important concept. Okay, take this is also an important point. Lambda m, lambda EQ is very high. Lambda m, lambda EQ is very high, and it is increases slowly on dilution. And it is increases slowly on dilution. Next, this side. Lambda m, lambda EQ is very less, and it is increases sharply on dilution. Okay, so it is about strong and weak electrolytes. So actually, before this concept, you could have studied what is electrolyte, types of electrolyte. Adarmale idu barಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು, but that we forgot it. Okay, fine. Now write electrolytes. What is electrolyte and what is non-electrolyte? Also study here. Electrolyte, non-electrolyte. Tell me, what is electrolyte? Electrolyte is nothing but electrolytic conductor, no? So what is electrolytic conductor? The substance which conduct the electric current by the movement of ions. Right, by the movement of ions. Of course, free ions called electrolyte, nothing but electrolytic conductor. So therefore, the definition of electrolyte also same. The substance which conduct the electric current by the movement of ions, either in solution state or molten state. So usually, all electrolytes can conduct electric current in either in solution state, that is in aqueous solution, or some can molten state or fused state. Therefore, so these can conduct the electric current in solution or molten state. Okay, then what are the examples for electrolytes? Tell me. Same example, no? Salt. All salt solutions, right? NaCl solution, KCl, MgCl2, all salt solutions. Next, salts in molten or pure state. Next, can we take strong acids? Yes or no? Okay, not strong acid. You can take all acids, no? All acids, comma, all bases. For example, for electrolytes. Now tell me, it's about electrolyte. Then what about non-electrolyte? The substance which do not conduct the electric current, either in molten state or solution state. So therefore, the substance which do not conduct the electric current either in molten state or solution state. Example, we have studied solution topic. I told you there are three very common example in solution. Non-electrolyte: urea, glucose, sucrose, sugar, and pure water. Okay. Urea, glucose, sucrose, benzene. You know the benzene? Toluene, benzene, toluene, carbon tetrachloride, CCl4, carbon disulfide, chloroform, many more examples. organic solvent or non-electrolyte. They do not conduct electric current either in solution state or molten state. Okay. Then what are the differences between electrolytes and non-electrolytes? Come on, tell me. Electrolytes, non-electrolytes. Come on, tell me. One, they conduct electric current.
In solution state.
They conduct the electric current in solution and molten state. Here, they do not conduct electric current in solution and molten state. Next, usually electrolytes are whether ionic compound or covalent compounds. Ionic. NaCl, KCl, no. Salts, acids, bases. Usually they are ionic compounds. If not ionic, they have more ionic nature. Usually they are ionic compounds. Here they are usually covalent compounds. Next, since they are ionic compound, whether they undergo ionization or not? Yes. So they undergo ionization in aqueous solution. Here they do not undergo ionization. Next, since they undergo ionization, then the reaction takes place between the ions or between the molecules. In case of electrolyte, reaction takes place between the ions. Here reaction takes place. So therefore here reactions takes place between ions. Here between molecules. Finally, here in reaction ions are involving, right? Since ions are involving in the reaction, these reactions are faster. Yes or no? Ionic reactions are faster. These reactions are slow. Okay, better. Electrolyte. Electrolyte. The substance which can conduct the electric current. The substance which can conduct the electric current either in solution state or molten state. The substance which can conduct the electric current either in solution state or molten state called electrolytes. Take examples. Salt solutions, salts in molten state, all acids and all bases. It's non-electrolytes. The substance which do not conduct the electric current. The substance which do not conduct the electric current either in solution state or molten state. Solution state or molten state called non-electrolytes. Take examples. Differences between electrolytes and non-electrolytes. substances, electrolyte. 1. They conduct electric current in molten and solution state. They conduct electric current, molten and solution state. Here, do not. They do not conduct electric current, molten and solution state. Next, so these are ionic compounds. Generally, these are ionic compounds. Here, these are covalent compounds. Next, they undergo ionization. Here, they do not. They undergo ionization. That side, they do not. Next, reactions takes place between ions. Here, between molecules. Reactions takes place between the ions. Reaction takes place between the molecules. Next, these reactions are faster. Here is slower. Okay. So next is factors affecting on degree of dissociation, alpha and conductance. Okay. So which factors affect the degree of dissociation? Take down 1. Nature of electrolyte. 2. Nature of solvent. 3. Temperature. 4. Dilution. 5. Size of solvated molecules. 6. Viscosity of the solvent. And last one, 7th one is interionic force of attraction. Interionic force of attraction. So these are the important factors. They affect the conductance and the degree of dissociation. Okay. Tell me. Say factors affecting on degree of dissociation and conductance. So degree of dissociation is nothing but alpha, no? Alpha. Okay. Now tell me first, what is the relation between alpha and conductance? What is the relation between alpha and conductance? How they are related? Of course, directly proportional. Then it means when alpha increases, conductance is increases. Why? See, conductance is, usually the conductance of any electrolyte depends on two important factors. One, number of ions. As the number of ions increases, its conductance is increases. Conductance is nothing but it is the capacity of the ion to carry the electric current. Yes or no? It is the capacity of the ions or tendency of ions to carry the electric current. That means when current is passed through the solution, any electrolyte solution, what happens? When current is passed through the any electrolytic solution, we know that cation moves towards one electrode, that is cathode. All anion moves towards anode. they move towards cathode anode, it nothing but they carry the electric current. Cation carry electric current, anion also carry electric current. That means the electric current carrying capacity is depends on total number of ions, right? If the number of ions are increases, what I mean? Its conductance is increases. And one more is conductance also depends on the velocity of ions. There are two ions. One ion move slowly, another ion move very fastly. Then which can conduct electron? The ion which can move fastly, that can carry the electric current more and easily. Therefore, the conductance of any electrolyte is depends on one number of ion. As the number of ion increases, electric conductance increases. Second one, velocity of ion increases, electric conductance also increases. Then this electric conductance also depends on alpha, because as the alpha increases, number of ions increases. Yes or no? What is alpha? It is the ratio of number of moles of electrolyte dissociated. How many dissociated, how many taken? Ratio, no. If the more dissociated, more number of ions will be there, alpha will be more. It means alpha value nothing but it is directly related to number of ions dissociated. As the number of ions dissociated more number of ions will be there, conductance will be more. So therefore, alpha and conductance both are directly proportional. Okay, that's what we are studying together. If not alpha, not conductance, both are not separately we are studying. We are studying factors. Which factors affect the both. Now let's see first one. Here all one sentence is important. First one, nature of electrolyte. Okay, tell me nature of electrolyte. Usually, stronger the electrolyte, more will be the degree of dissociation and more will be the conductance. We have studied two types of electrolyte, strong and weak. If the electrolyte is strong, it undergo complete annihilation. If it is undergo complete annihilation, alpha is more, conductance will be more. That means stronger the electrolyte, more will be the degree of dissociation and more will be the conductance. Okay, one sentence enough. Next is to nature of solvent. Nature of solvent. Tell me, there are usually two types of solvents we use. One is a polar, second one is non-polar. If it is a polar, less polar, more polar. Then what is the use of solvent, polar solvent or non-polar solvent? Say, we study in chemical bonding. This polar solvent, no? The polar solvent, if you take like any cation, anion, Na plus Cl minus, then now add in water. This polar solvent, it separates the cation, anion. That is the function of solvent. When any salt is added to water is a polar solvent, it makes separation, cation and anion. If the polarity of the solvent is more, it easily separates cation and anion. Right? If the cation and anion easily separated, then alpha will be more or not? More alpha, more conductance. Therefore, now tell me, conductance and degree of dissociation depends on what? Nature of solvent. That is, higher the polarity of solvent. Yes or no? Higher the polarity of the solvent, more will be the alpha and more will be the conductance. And here we use water. Water has highest dielectric constant, that is 84. In chemical bonding we will study. So water has highest dielectric constant. Dielectric constant is a measure of polarity. If the dielectric constant is more, that is a more polar solvent. So therefore water is a polar solvent and it is a universal polar solvent, right? Which can separate easily cation, anion. That's what, higher the polarity, more will be the alpha and more will be the conductance. Next is temperature. So what is the relation between temperature and alpha? In case of electrolytic conductor, we have studied. In case of electrolytic conductor, alpha is increases with increasing temperature, directly proportional. As the temperature, as the temperature increases, what happen? Kinetic energy of the ions? Kinetic energy increases. That means ions get energy and they move fastly. their kinetic energy increases, obviously their moment increases, their conductance is increases. But in case of electronic conductor, it is the opposite. Because in case of electronic conductor, as the temperature increases, resistance increases, then conductance is decreases. But here, conductance directly proportional to temperature, or temperature, as the temperature increases, alpha increases, as alpha increases, conductance is increases. Next is dilution. Okay, usually what happened? Dilution. Now when dilution is done, what happens in case of strong and weak electrolyte? See, dilution is nothing but the process of adding the water to any concentrated solution. You can take acid, base, or anything, salt, anything. When water is added to any concentrated solution, which is called dilution. Okay, then tell me, when water is added, whether alpha increases? Usually alpha do not increases in case of strong electrolyte, but alpha increases in case of weak electrolyte. But in both case, conductance increases, but in one case conductance increases slowly, in other case conductance increases sharply. That's okay. But now question is, why the conductance is increases on dilution, even strong and weak? For example, you take, there are two solutions. Okay, I will take, it is A plus B, it is a strong electrolyte. Okay, or else NaCl, Na plus Cl minus strong electrolyte. And take another weak electrolyte is acetate ion, H plus ion. Then tell me, here water is 1 liter water is there. Then now add excess of water here, add excess of water here also. When water is added in both the cases, conductance in both the cases increases. Okay, why? That is dilution. When the solutions are diluted, conductance increases, not because of alpha. So alpha will be same here, alpha equal to 1 only, alpha 1 only, but alpha here increases. This is increases because alpha value is increases. This is increases not because of alpha value, but what? It is due to inter-ionic distance. In case of strong electrolyte, when water added, tell me, as I told you, water makes separation. No? When water added more and more, the distance between this cation and anion is increases. When the distance increases, the force of attraction between cation and anion is decreases. Then they can move easily. It means when the water is added in case of strong electrolyte, alpha do not increases, but conductance increases. It is not because of alpha, it is because of the distance between cation and anion, which is called inter-ionic distance. When the inter-ionic distance increases, inter-ionic force of attraction decreases, therefore they move fastly, their conductance is increases. Therefore, so what is the relation between dilution and conductance? So therefore, dilution is always directly proportional to conductance. Next is size of the solvated molecules. So what is the size of the solvated molecule? What is the class? Nanda class ala? Okay, let me finish this. Today botany sir not there. I will take my class. Finish modify. Okay, next is size of the solvated molecule. So what is the size of the solvated molecule effect? Say this is you have studied in where? S block elements, alkali and alkaline earth metals. Okay, size of the solvated molecule. See, we know that the conductance of any electrolyte depends on velocity of ion. Of course, one is a number, second velocity. Let us take velocity. Velocity of ion. There are two ions. One is a size bigger in size, larger in size, and one more is smaller in size. Which ion can move fastly? Smaller size. Therefore, if the size of the hydrated ion is small, it can move fastly. If the size of the hydrated ion is large, it cannot move fastly, therefore conductance will be less. For example, in alkali metals, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. Tell me, whose hydrated size is large? Huh? Lithium or cesium? Lithium. Hydrated size, lithium is large because lithium ion is smaller in size. It attracts many water molecule in many layers, not only one layer. 1, 2, 3. Of course, hydration energy is more. Therefore, after hydration, the size of the lithium is more. Therefore, lithium ion cannot move fastly as it has large in size. Whereas cesium. So like that. So for conductance, what should be the size of the solvated molecule? Small. Smaller the size of the solvated molecule, more will be the conductance. And it is not related with the degree of dissociation. Alpha is nowhere related to this now. It's only conductance. Next is viscosity of the solvent. Tell me, to move the ion fastly, what should be the viscosity of the solvent? Less. Viscosity must be less, isn't it? Like if you want to swimming in water, swimming in oil. Can you swim in oil? Just imagine. No. No, as like water. Yes or no? Reason is oil has more viscosity compared to water. So due to more viscosity, so even ions also cannot swim. Ion had to swim now. So therefore ion cannot move fastly due to more viscosity. Therefore, what is the relation between viscosity and conductance? So it should be inversely proportional. Last one is inter-ionic force of attraction. The force of attraction between two ions should be less or more? Less. It means it is also inversely proportional to conductance. It means, so lesser the inter-ionic force of attraction, more will be the conductance. Okay. So these are the factors affecting on alpha and conductance. Okay.